Hello and welcome back to the Listening Lounge. My name is Nick Day, CEO of JJ Recruitment Group, specialist payroll and HR recruiters. And right now, we all know there is so much noise on the internet. It can be really hard to be heard. There's no more noise, shall I say, in the world of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. So we want to find out the truth behind all of this. And I cannot wait to introduce the speaker I've got for you today, which is Jonathan Chester. Now, he is CEO of Bitwage. It's a top 7 blockchain company in the US. It ranks in the top 21 in the world. Bitwage offers solutions for workers to receive wages in a variety of currencies, including Bitcoin. Jonathan writes for Forbes on all things Bitcoin. I'll let Jonathan tell you more as we go through. But Jonathan, welcome to the Listening Lounge.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Before we jump straight into the payroll element, tell us a little bit about your background to date. What led you to combine the world of Bitcoin with the really exciting world of payroll? Fill us in.
Yeah, sure. So before I got into Bitwage, I was working at Oracle, and when I was at Oracle, it was a little bit of a boring position, you might say. And so what I was doing to make life more lively is I was looking at new technologies that were up and coming in the world. And as part of that process, I would watch TED Talks. And one TED Talk that I watched was about the future of money. And in that episode, they were talking about Bitcoin. And I very fast became fascinated by various elements, such as efficiencies in transactions, especially in international components, financial sovereignty, banking the unbanked, and these sort of elements. And I decided to go down the rabbit hole for about 1 or 2 months, learning everything I could, and I came out this obsessed Bitcoin guy. This is 2013, so there weren't a lot of us out there. So I'd be going, telling people, oh, you got to buy Bitcoin, at work, and basically one of my colleagues connected me with another crazy Bitcoin guy, and we got together and we were like, okay, this technology is going to be the future. It's going to be a very important part of finance and monetary systems. How can we leverage this? And we looked at what existed in the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. There were wallets for people to store their money, exchanges for people to get in and out. There was also merchant processing, so ways for people to actually spend their Bitcoin on things like computers and vacations and flights and whatnot. But no one was doing anything with business payments or with payroll. And we thought, okay, if this is really going to take on a life of its own, business payments and payroll are going to need to be an important part of this. So we said, okay, let's be the first people to address this. So we quit our jobs in 2014. And a month later, we launched Bitwage, which was the first Bitcoin payroll product on the market.
An issue that employers and employees may face, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there's a wild volatility potentially in the price of cryptocurrencies as compared to fiat currencies. It's not unknown for the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, which you mentioned, or any of the other better known coins to increase by significant amounts, or by the other way around, go down by significant amounts in a single day. I mentioned Dogecoin earlier, increased by 5,000%. If you were in that coin a little while ago, only a month ago, right? You're laughing, although it's retraced a little bit. But does such volatility make it really difficult then for companies to budget payments effectively? If you've got a number of contractors running, the gig economy you mentioned before, they're paying multiple workers, potentially across multiple cryptocurrencies or across geographical regions. How realistic is it to actually manage your payroll in that way? Well, how would you overcome that potential problem?
Yeah, so I think that there's a little bit of a misconception here, right? The way that people are doing it today, people are handling it today, is they actually price everything still in like dollars and euros, right? Nothing is priced in Bitcoin. Everything's priced in dollars.
Sure.
So let's say I'm going to get paid, a $5,000 paycheck this month. The way that the flow is going to work is you're going to put dollars into the system, you're going to take the taxes out, then you have the post-tax, and the post-tax then goes to a payroll system like Bitwage is. Bitwage then takes whatever percentage the worker wants in Bitcoin, converts that into Bitcoin, and then deposits that to the user. So then the user is getting the rate at approximately the same time that the rate is made. So you don't actually have this volatility risk occurring here. There is this other trend that people are starting to talk about, which is a little bit more complicated, where people want to like buy the Bitcoin with like their year bonus up front and then have that vest over time.
Yeah. And
one of the risks associated with this particular transaction is minimum wage law. Even though you can legally pay someone in Bitcoin, you cannot pay them under minimum wage. And when you do something like this, there's a chance that if the price of Bitcoin goes too low, you're now paying under minimum wage.
Sure.
So to do something like that, it is possible to set up a custom system like that. And I would highly recommend requiring at least the minimum wage to be paid in dollars or pounds. But it's a lot more complicated. The easiest thing to do is just to allow someone to get paid a portion of their wage every paycheck at the price that it is when they get their paycheck.
Sure. That mitigates the risk against your standard wages as well, right? So it seems like a more logical approach to it. Sounds really exciting. For me, anything that offers more freedom of choice for employees is a positive thing. Then the employee makes a decision, right? If they want to go this way, they can. If they don't, that's completely up to them as well. I think freedom of choice is a great thing to be able to incorporate into your solution to help with that war on talent, to help with that engagement piece. Tell me a little bit more about how you think then payroll tech and Bitcoin and that relationship with the industry as well is really going to start transforming over the future years. I mean, as you said, 2013, it was a really new concept. I wrote about it in 2018, still then a very new concept, but it's really caught the public imagination at the moment. So what do you see the future looking like for payroll, and what do you see the future looking like for crypto being a payroll choice?
Yeah, so I think that today it's still very much looked at as an investment, right?
Yeah.
So in the US, it's a very common idea to invest through your payroll. Actually, one of the first my first encounter with investment was my 401k, right? So this concept, at least in the US, is very in the psyche, and I think that this is something that's going to move globally, not just because of people thinking about investing through their paychecks, but I think that ultimately what happens is that Bitcoin becomes a new form of savings account. I was referring to this before about the sort of slow constant growth rate effect once this matures. And so when we get to this point, because this is a deflationary currency, because it is relatively stable with a slow constant growth rate, and because it is also one of the most liquid, it is actually the most liquid deflationary asset in the world. You can spend it on Visa and debit cards, you can buy houses, you can pretty much buy anything you want. You can sell as much of it as you want and get market prices nearly anywhere. Because it's so liquid and deflationary, it becomes a prime opportunity to become a savings account for people. Because why would people want local currencies that's losing value over time as their savings account when they could have a currency that's just as liquid as their local currency, but actually increases in value over time?
Fabulous. Well, I think it's been a fantastic walk through, a fantastic tour into the world of Bitcoin, the world of Bitwage, of course, and cryptocurrencies as a payroll solution. I'm all for, as I say, that freedom of choice for engaging your employees. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity for brands to get involved. Tell us a little about where they can find, if they want to find more information, Jonathan, they want to explore this solution in more detail. Where can people go to find you?
Yeah, so you can go to www.bitwage.com. We have an active support Slack channel, slack.bitwage.com. Our Twitter is also very active at Bitwage. You can direct message that and it goes directly to our support and marketing teams. So reaching out there or through support@bitwage.com are great ways to connect. We also host a Bitcoin for Business Clubhouse room.
Jonathan, thanks again for joining us on Listening Lounge. Remember, everybody, every good conversation starts with good listening. Till next time.